If you found me through my video, Interview Tips from a Jet Vet, then you're in the right place, because this video is going to update some of the things that I talked about, some of the more current trends or things you need to be aware of, especially if you are planning to teach in Japan or trying to get a job here in Japan, or if you are currently awaiting your interview for the JET program. Hey everyone, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. My name is Kim and I am a teacher here in Yokohama, Japan, soon to be retired teacher. I have a Teaching in Japan series, so if that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing. I do appreciate all the new subscribers that I've gained from my shorts. I also like to post things about Japan and my lifestyle here, so if that interests you as well, please consider subscribing because I would love to have you as part of this community. All right. So from January to March, it is a really busy recruiting time because the school year in Japan begins in April. So if you're thinking of trying to get a job at a board of education or with the school system, or even if you're just interested in a language school or maybe a language college or something of that nature, usually because the fiscal year starts in April, a lot of people sign up for new programs or they make the decision to go to these language schools to upgrade their English abilities. Or if you're working with the schools, parents are interested in getting their children into English as early as possible because now English has become a subject in the elementary school system. So it's a busy time, which also means it's a very opportune time. When I made that video about interview tips from a JET vet, I was speaking from my experience as well as the experience of some of the former JET colleagues and participants I've worked with. I should say that I've had the pleasure of working with and getting to know. I was assigned to Tottori Prefecture, and many of us who were stationed in Tottori Prefecture are actually still here in Japan in other jobs, or we still keep in touch one way or the other. You really do form tight bonds, and I think it is one of the most incredible experiences you'll have, even if it may be a difficult one versus a positive one. I think everything you gain from your experience here in Japan will take you to your next destination with a little bit more confidence and maybe some tricks under your belt. Is it tricks under your belt or tricks under your sleeve that can help you adjust better, assimilate better, or maybe deal with things that are thrown your way a little bit more easier. Now, I came on JET in 1988, so that's pretty long time ago, right? Since the introduction of technology, social media, and dealing with a pandemic, earthquakes, natural disasters, which have affected a lot of people that were working or still are working in Japan, it kind of changed, or it kind of made people rethink a lot of things. It made programs have to approach recruitment in a little different way. So that's some of the things that I'm going to talk about here, about some of the things that have changed and maybe some of the things you need to be more aware of if you are interviewing or if you are considering working in Japan. One of the key questions in any interview isn't going to change that much, and it's why Japan? And if you're planning to come on the JET program, or if you're interviewing with JET, why JET? There are so many more programs to teach in Japan or work in Japan. Not all of them are as supportive as others. Not all of them have as good a reputation as others. So it's kind of important for you to do your homework. It may not be a question they will ask you directly, but I think people can get a sense whether you are just looking to find a job in Japan, or if you're really sincerely interested in the program that you're applying for. I can give you a few things that maybe can help you as far as why JET, because you probably already know your why Japan. And if you don't know your why Japan, then rethink that, because other countries as well have teaching English programs. I think people, especially your interviewers, if they are maybe former JETs or even teachers who have worked with a lot of JETs, they kind of have that little profile imaging where they can tell whether you're just coming here because you want to get a foot in the door to Japan, or you're just interested in starting a YouTube channel or doing travel vlogs rather than doing the actual job that you're being hired for. So if you're asked why the JET program, but you haven't been on the JET program, so how would you know the answers? I thought I could give you a little bit of insight on some of the things that JET does really well and why I personally would recommend it to people that are hoping to teach in Japan. The JET program offers a lot of support. You have teachers that have had experience with team teaching. In your own prefecture, you'll find that you'll have somebody that's in charge of kind of checking up on you, a prefectural head, maybe even somebody in your prefecture that helps you out with settling in or taking care of business type things. You'll have people that take care of the Japanese side of things, so that if you need a liaison to help you with communication or understanding a lesson plan, or if you have a problem in the classroom, there's always a lot of liaisons that can help you. And most of the schools that participate in the JET program have probably most likely been doing it for a long time. If you think, I came in 1988, that was the second year of the JET program, and we're in 2024 right now. That's a long time. So they are well aware of situations that may or may not happen, and most of the teachers there, if they don't know how to help you themselves, can probably refer you to people that can. Also, too, you have your organization, AJET. I was not a member of the AJET in my prefecture, but the AJET in my prefecture was very, very strong. And so if you are someone that needs maybe a little bit of social support, or you'd like a little bit of social networking so that you are not lonely, or you have somebody to vent with or hang out with, ask questions with, AJET provides a lot of support for the participants. They have different programs where you can have exchanges, you can learn Japanese, you can even travel or find people to travel with through your local AJET. Also, too, the JET program has a lot of conferences and a lot of observation or demonstration lessons. So you have the opportunity to go to see different people teach. You can get ideas. You can network. You can get ideas on how to do a team teaching lesson with this or that textbook. You might see your fellow JET participants at events such as speech contests or international fairs or sports days, all that kind of stuff. And I think as a JET program participant, you are more included in a lot of activities at your school. That's primarily because I think most ALTs are still based at a school, sometimes more than one school, or you might be based at a board of education, but you still have a home base. And when you have a home base, I think people are more likely to take care of you or want to get to know you. Whereas if you're maybe at a language school or someplace that assigns you to go to different schools, but your base is your company, you don't really have that foundation or that, that kind of welcoming, warm support at your school that maybe somebody that is based at a school would have. Cheers. Hydration break. Another thing that has changed, obviously, since the time I interviewed on JET, and it could probably be either an interview question or something that maybe you'll be asked to share or explain, is your experience with digital programs. How tech savvy are you? What programs are you familiar with? Some schools may use a certain program and they may say our school uses Google Classroom. Are you familiar with that? Or what experience do you have in school websites or planning online classes? My advice is be honest. If you are not that experienced in that, say that. Be humble, because whatever you say, they may take that as that you really are fluent in a certain program. I know at our school we kind of shifted away from using Microsoft Word to going to Google Documents instead. And for some teachers it's really hard because they're not familiar with that and they don't really want to take the time to learn. If that could be you, it could mean that you might not be able to fit in comfortably with the school. So what I would suggest saying is maybe you have experience in this, but you are open to learning whatever program the school involves. Always say that you're open to trying this or that. They may ask what your experience is in doing Zoom lessons or online lessons, especially because of the pandemic. So many schools had to do classes online, and it forced a lot of teachers out of their comfort zone. So teachers had to learn how to present online, how to have an online presence, how to be able to have children participating with you while you are at the controls, making sure that these kids are muted and this kid is able to be heard by the other participants, all that kind of stuff. So be honest with your abilities, but if you're not familiar, just say you're willing to learn or you're excited to learn about new programs, whatever. It just shows that you're trying to keep up with the digital progress. One question that I think some of the people at my school have started to ponder, and so it could possibly be a question that you might get, is what do you think of AI? Do you think it should be allowed in the English classroom? And if so, why or why not? Or what are your opinions of AI? It's a big topic because some schools are totally against it. Other schools are embracing it. Other schools really don't know what to do with it. And if you have any experience or if you have any ideas, it might be a good time to share them. You usually don't have a lot of time in your interview to go over a digital portfolio. But I know some schools, if you're interviewing maybe with a private school or a school and they give you a chance to introduce yourself, a lot of teachers now are bringing digital notebooks or portfolios to share with the interview panel. Like I said, I don't think you have a lot of time on JET to do that, and I don't even know if they have a projector. But if you are interviewing perhaps at a school and you ask them, you're going to bring your digital portfolio, would they like to see it? Or they may ask you to send it. That's something you could do if that is your skill. If it's not, I would say, sometimes it's better not to bring something that could make or break their decision, because let's say you say, I made this great digital profile because I'm very experienced in this and that, and you send it. Maybe the people that you're interviewing with have a lot more experience than you do, so they may look at your things and say, this is not as great as we thought or something. So I think just wait. If they ask you to submit one, or if they suggest that you submit one, then go ahead and do so. But I'll leave that up to you and your confidence in that area. Speaking of digital stuff, in this day and age, social media is pretty much everywhere, right? And I'm almost positive that each of you has some kind of social account, whether it be just here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, Reddit, maybe even a Japanese one. I'm probably forgetting a lot of other programs. Twitch, LinkedIn, all those, right? Back when I was on JET and back when I applied, we didn't have any of that. So there was no way, really, that people could check up on you or see things about you ahead of time. Nowadays, when people send their resume, it's kind of easy to check and make sure that things click. And people sometimes do searches and check up on your information. Sometimes they may even discover an account or two of yours if you haven't locked it up and find information that may make it questionable whether or not you should be hired. I'm speaking from experience of a time when somebody had applied for a position and the cover letter or the reasons why this person wanted to come to Japan didn't mesh with his social media, where everything was Japan bashing, and he wasn't happy with this and he wasn't happy with this, and he was leaving the program that he was currently a part of, breaking his contract and going back. But he had met somebody that needed medical care, so he needed some sort of medical insurance or some kind of help to get the help for his significant other or partner at the time. And so things just didn't click. And it's great if nobody finds that out. But if somebody finds it out, then ethically, what do you do? Do you question that person and say, why is it that you said in this one you hated Japan and you went through lengthy measures on your social media to say bad things about Japan, but then here you are saying how much you love Japan and how much your previous experience was so wonderful that you wanted to come work again? Do you see what I mean? So if you are maybe a little bit worried or a little bit, if you just want to keep it a lot more safe, maybe you may want to put your accounts on private during the whole recruiting process. And sometimes it's nice. Sometimes you may want your future employers or people that are interviewing you to see what you've been up to. So if you have a teaching blog or if you have a lot of experience and you want to share some of the things that you did, and the recruiters can look and see all the things you did, that may be a plus in your favor. But if you're someone that has had questionable activities online that can be found out, or you've got especially questionable photos, then you may want to, gosh, why are these people? They just came to smoke right in front of my car. I don't think they realize that I'm in the back seat. Oh my God, it's two young guys. Oh well, I'll just keep talking. So, yeah, I think, some things are fine. Like if you have a family or if you're posting pictures of your university graduation or things like that, it's entirely up to you how much you want to share. That's with any social media, right? And it doesn't have to be just with job stuff. But I do think nowadays, because competition is so tough sometimes, that if someone wanted to just take a peek and see if they can find out a little bit more about you, then you may just want to be a little bit more careful with your social media. I don't know. I feel like Japan is one country where it's kind of better to be upfront and honest, even though when you read about different things, they're not always upfront and honest with you. Sometimes things are very vague, and it's so frustrating because you may want an answer or you may want to know certain things about the job you're applying for, and the answers given to you are very vague, especially if you haven't gotten the position yet. So when they say things like, do you have any questions? I would really shy away from asking questions that put them in the position to have to say something they really either don't want to or are not able to say. Things regarding to holidays, money, living situations, all that. I would wait until after you're accepted and maybe find somebody after that can give you a little bit more information instead of using that as one of your questions about the program. Stay away from those kind of topics because it's already kind of giving them maybe the vibes that you're in it for the money, or you're in it just to get to Japan, or you are so self-confident that you already think you have it, so you're already asking questions about where you're going to live, that kind of stuff. Kind of related to social media is your, I guess not reputation, but your image. I don't know if that's the right word. And this applies primarily to people that may already be in Japan, but are applying for a program, or people that maybe do have a strong social media presence and, there's no way you can delete your accounts or make them private. Just remember that probably recruiters are, they look at you in a different light than maybe parents would, or potential parents, because you never know if there's a potential parent or current parent at the school you're applying to, or that is maybe one of the teachers at the school that sees you doing something that maybe isn't very, in a Japanese parent's mind, teacher-like. It's really difficult because as a foreigner here, or as somebody that is working in Japan, whether you like it or not, you're always under a microscope. Maybe it's not a really tuned-in microscope, but it's kind of a big microscope. You all know how, well, maybe you don't know, but it's pretty strict, or people, parents in particular, don't want their children to be filmed without their permission. And so you have to be very conscious if you are at an event or a school or anywhere where there's kids or children, to make sure that they're not being filmed without their permission or without their knowledge. It's also hard because there are so many more people that probably know you that you have no idea who they are. When I'm out and when I'm going to different places and going to restaurants, supermarket, anywhere public, I always try and watch my manners. Always. I mean, sometimes I do. I may react, or I may get upset or frustrated. But you have to always remember that cashier that just made a mistake, or that person that maybe spilled something on you or whatever, it could be someone's parent, or it could be your next principal. You don't know. That's anywhere in the world, right? Especially during your recruiting phase. Just be on your best behavior. You don't want to end up in a drunken video right when you're trying to get a job at somewhere else, and someone just happens to see an online video of you just being a little bit crazy at a park or something. I know I sound like a mom, don't I? I sound like grandma, or I sound like, my mom saying, be careful of this. But you kind of have to be. And as much as everybody respects each other, it's still, there's so many tricky things when it comes to job stuff. And if you really, really want a certain job, sometimes you have to go through those steps to make sure that you're showing your best self at all times, at least for the recruiting process. Do you know what I mean? All right. So from my first video, it was pretty basic in general, mainly just reminding you to be yourself. And I would say the same thing, still holds true, but with newer circumstances, with the addition now of social media and digital everything. They're just things to think about and keep in mind. I wish you so much luck and the best of luck in your endeavors, in your interviews. I hope I can maybe see you here in Japan and we can discuss things more and celebrate. But until then, go out there, do your best, and if you have any questions or comments or things you'd like to share, please feel free to put them in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for your support and for watching this video. I will see you, I hope, in the next one. Thank you. Take care. Bye.